This chapter of Kengan Omega was actually a fairly interesting chapter, pretty good as well, mainly for the reveal at the end. But we are possibly going into what might be one of the more important segments of the story of Kengan Omega that will change the trajectory forever, actually. And I want to talk more about this stuff because I did have theories on what had been happening with the worms so far, and I will mention these theories because I recommend you watch them, because I predict a lot of the stuff that had happened in this chapter. And also the fact that, at least in my latest Shen Wulong video, How Shen Poked the Kengan Community, I did talk about the reason why this was a very big deal. Yes, it has a lot to do with Shen's power, but the second half of that is that there's actually more than one Shen. And that, I think, is the biggest revelation that, look, you're not just dealing with one guy, you're dealing with possibly, I think, 2 or 3. You're dealing with 2 or 3 Shens. And that's big. That's incredibly big for the Kengan story and for the antagonist side. But before we get into that, let's get into this slowly, actually. And that is, we'll start at the beginning of the chapter where basically the end of the fight between Hatsumi and Kaneda is happening, and Kaneda is talking about how, Hatsumi is talking about how Kaneda may have gotten stronger from this. Basically he was testing out determined prediction, and because of this fight, Kaneda will just be much more dangerous, which is pretty much true. However, we transition pretty quickly from that to the security situation. Now, I've done a video, I'm going to mention this, where it's going to be in the link in the box below, and it's going to pop up towards the top right of the screen, where I talked about the Kengan Association. I think it's called Why You're Wrong About the Kengan Association. And in that video, I talk about the fact that the Worms, or who we knew as the Worms, are not just a faction that is infiltrating the Kengan Association now. I think they have been with the Kengan Association ever since the beginning of Ashura, and even well before that, with the flashback with Metsudo kind of happening. But also, I forgot this guy's name, the one who had a burnt eye and burnt skin from his eye. Ever since he was introduced, ever since his betrayal, I think the Worm were behind that betrayal. So the Worm has been in the Kengan Association for a while, and I genuinely do think that they have made the security bad on purpose. They have disorganized the Kengan Association security on purpose, because the reason why the security was like that is because of the many factions within the Kengan Association. They don't really get along here. We did know this for a while, but it's made even worse when it comes to the security situation, even though I think the Worm are ultimately behind it, because the Worms are actually a part of the association. I still think that it's predominantly them that are controlling the situation so far, and it seems like they're infiltrating. A lot of stuff are gonna happen now. You have Yan in his gear. It's going down in this chapter. I really think it's going to go down. However, Oma, Carla, everyone is kind of talking about how the security is actually pretty bad and wondering who's in control. And again, no one seems to be in control. No one knows who the leader is. But I want to talk about Terashi for a second. My man looks like Satoru Gojo in this. I was like, wait a minute. Why does this man look like Gojo all of a sudden, covering his eyes, having that Jujutsu Kaisen gear? I was actually kind of laughing at this. However, again, the second connector manages to sneak on, right? Because the security is just that bad, right? There is no coordination, there's nothing. And even some of the Worm members are surprised by this. When they're inspecting them, they're not even patting them down, nothing. And it gets into the final part, which is the reveal, where the second connector reveals himself. And he says that, well, everyone kind of figures it out the moment they look at him. It's almost kind of funny how Oma always misses that these people look like him, especially Luohan. If Luohan is the person that Shen is cloned from, then he should be able to recognize him, kinda, but he always misses. He misses it with Shen, and he misses it with with Wulong, and now he misses it with Luohan. It's really funny to see Shen kind of Oma just looking at guys that look like him and being like, oh well. Like, it's kind of funny. However, what this does reveal is that Luohan is a clone. Now, if that's true, then again, where is the original Shen? I think that's the biggest question of this entire thing. Because a lot of people are going to say, well, isn't Wulong? No, actually, there's a good chance that he isn't the original. Because remember when he revealed that to Mukaku, that, listen, Oma ain't my clone. And when you put two and two together, the last question he asked is who he is, actually. And that might mean that Wulong and Luohan are not they're both clones of just another dude. Whether he's dead or alive we'll get to see that in the future. But there has to be an original dude. There has to be at minimum another Shen, whether he's dead or alive. And that's pretty crazy if you think about it, right? Now, what's gonna happen from here on out, I think, is the bigger question. Now, I have a theory on what will happen in the end. But for now, I think Death Dealers might be here to take Oma. Ryuki was also around, last I checked, but also to announce that they will be participating in the Champions Tournament. I think we will get that reveal in this chapter. Because again, the Champions Tournament is around the corner. You have everyone wanting to participate already, but more might be on the line because of what's happening here. Remember when, I think it was Canada. No, I'm saying Canada. I think it was Yamashita. I forgot exactly who it was. But he did say that another tournament was happening that was going to be bigger than the Annihilation Tournament. And I genuinely do think that it might be the Champions Tournament. And if that's true, this is kind of the thing I expect to see, right? The Worm are going to make their move now, and I think they're going to try to take over the Kengan Association by winning that tournament, because basically that's how this thing goes. And so what I'm predicting right now is that the Worm are going to establish themselves in this like section of the story. They're going to establish themselves as a threat, and I think it's going to be time for people like Koga and Ryuki to step up, because I think we might be in the final stretch of the Kengan Omega story at this point. We have most of the revelations here, and I think it's right around that time, right? Because we did have the inside arc where Koga was there and it was about Oma, kinda, and then we had the Berserker Bowl arc, which was also centered around them. But I think now they should take a lot more center stage because of what's gonna happen here. But yeah, that's it. That's the chapter. Pretty big one in my opinion. But yeah, don't forget to like, sub, all that fun stuff. And until next time, take it easy.